I read a quote by a philosopher, a German philosopher, called Schopenhauer. To be honest, I've never read him, but I read this quote by him. And he said, all good art aspires to the condition of music. And it's a wonderful saying. And I'll use it any time when people try to get meaning out of the work. So I'll play a Mozart for them and say, what's the meaning there? And they may make the connection or not. They're still trying to find the camel in the desert, the tulip on the windowsill, and the landscape. It's so embedded in our kitsch consciousness that people find it very hard to deal with abstract art the way I try to teach my kids, and then they taught me. Just accept it, just let it. I mean, we're showing stuff, it's not threatening you. You're going to a gallery, you don't have to pay. What's the problem? Why did I do that? I have no idea. I know I did it, nobody else did it, but why that? Why did I cut it just like that? Why did I cut it at all? Why am I dealing with fragments? I mean, shrinks would have a ball about the fragments thing and the displaced thing, and you know, I came from South Africa to Israel, and then from Israel and here, I'm an expat, I was displaced myself. Maybe it's all very true, and maybe it's a crock, you know, it's baloney. You don't have to understand it. What does understand it mean anyway? What does it mean? I don't know if other artists feel this, but sometimes very abstract stuff like this can be telling you something, whether you're aware of it or not. And I find that quite enlightening and scary. Around about this time, I was invited, I think it's 1973, to show at Betty Parsons' gallery. There's a bunch of works around that time with torn paper and folded paper. This was what's shown at Betty Parsons' gallery. It didn't have the same thinking behind it. I was not interested in painting, I was not interested in etching. I didn't know that I was interested in sculpture, and this is a very sculptural piece, even though it's paper. I started feeling that paper was too thin a material. I needed something more to bite into, and I ended up using plywood sheets, standard industrial 4x8 plywood sheets, which I painted black, marked with a pencil, then hacked with an axe.
Why a hatchet?
How else would I break it? If I cut it with a saw, it defeats the purpose of helping it to reread the thing, and I'm doing exactly what the minimalist would have done. Okay, cut it like this, cut it like that, follow my drawings, follow my lead. This was something they could never, ever do. It's the body, it's the hand, it's too process-oriented, can't be ordered from a factory and delivered to your door. I sort of think of that axe thing as a very physical thing, sort of an extension of what would have been a brush in a de Kooning painting or something like that, because I was very influenced by de Kooning at the time. A lot had to do with process, the idea that the process is transparent. You can see that this was broken with an axe. You could see every part of it. I needed a very simple solution to what I wanted to do three-dimensionally. And for me, using these plywood sheets was a good solution. What was I doing at the time? Living. I was teaching, I was going to jazz clubs, and I was mixing with people who had the same kind of thoughts in mind. The same idea, a lot had to do with process, the idea that the process is transparent. You can reconstruct it in your mind as to what the original looked like. Whereas later on, if you were to look at a piece like that spandex piece on the wall there, if you turn around, there's no way of knowing what the process is, and I have no interest in that at that point. Part of just being very transparent and very clear about how something was made was important to me. The only one who knows this process is me and anyone who helped me at the time. You looking at a thing that's made, it's done. I like the material, I like spandex as a material. It has a softness to it. I still don't know where this piece came from. Writers say that the most terrifying moment they have is a blank page. And I can't speak for other artists, but for myself, I have ebbs and flows, and there can be months when I'm just marinating, contemplating. You always are trying to figure out what it's all about, trying to make sense of it. I remember a curator asking me, well, what's the magic? And I said, I don't know, because it's true. I'm looking at the white pieces, they're brand new, they're about a month, and I'm intrigued by them. And I was thinking, I haven't played in a long time, and I'm playing with blocks now, like a child plays with blocks. But the child plays with blocks one way, and I was playing with them, trying to come up with something that would surprise me, using the idea of the white compressing the pieces. Taking my time is always the top part of the process. I used to drill it into students' head. Look at how de Kooning painted. He would paint, then would sit down and look. Look at what you're doing. Let it talk back to you. Let it be an echo. If you're just dashing off stuff, that's the way it'll come across. If you've been working on something for 10, 20, 30, 40 years, clearly you're either insane or you're serious about it or both. Why would you do it otherwise? Why would you do it otherwise? For the sense of discovery, for the beauty of it, for being able to surprise yourself. Say, wow, did I do that? And then you come back a year later and say, shit, why did I do that? Or you say, it still holds up. There are no rules. This jazz musician, when I said, how do you do it? He said, you go where the gig goes. Jazz has a side to it, an unexpected side that always excited me, especially from Miles Davis, the idea of the spaces, the time that he doesn't play, the reductive part of it, the not playing riffs and scales. The giants like, Charlie Parker, Lester Young and so on, they started from a framework and they might have gone off, but they always came back to it. And that structural thing that exists there is what I like in my work when it works. Work either has presence or it doesn't. What is presence? Some people have presence, they come in the room. Music has presence. And I can't tell you how many pieces I've done where I've had nothing. Just fell flat. It's a constant process of editing in your mind and what you show.